Hi, everyone. Welcome to Detoxified Podcast. We're so excited that you're here with us this evening. We have my co-host next to me right now.
Hey, hi everyone. How's everyone doing this evening?
We have a very special guest, and I think the topic tonight is going to be interesting.
Yes,
It
absolutely.
flows on our last topic, and we're so excited about that because tonight is the men's edition. Our last topic, we spoke in general, but this time we want to get into a bit of detail.
Yeah.
So it's self-processing the chaos, men's edition. And I think it's going to help a lot of women too. So as you guys know, Detoxified is not a gender war. We come here to self-process, to heal, to be aware, and to learn how to work with each other and love more ourselves and others as well. And our special guest this evening is Markell, life coach and author.
Yes.
Hi.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Of course. We're so excited to have you on. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, you guys have a great show. I've been watching, I've been listening, and I'm excited to be here. So thanks again.
Oh,
Yes.
great.
We're excited to have you here too, by the way.
Yes, we are. Actually, we got very excited once you accepted.
Of course, anything for you guys, man.
So we know that you have a book that's out.
Yes.
I do. Mental training for better living. Here's a copy. Get it in the light. Available
I
on
love it.
Amazon. It's a quick read. It's not a lot. 10 chapters. Very short, but just give you a different perspective on how to think, how to process. I relate it to the gym. I'm a gym rat, as they say. I go to the gym about 3-4 times a week, trying to stay fit, trying to be healthy. But when you go to the gym, you have a focus when you want to change your physique, whether it's to gain weight or lose weight. A lot of people have the mantra of eat, train, sleep, eat, train, sleep. Like that's all that's on your mind when you're in this process. So I sat back and I thought about it. What's the process when you want to change your life? And if you want to change how you think, how you move, things of that sort. So I came up with the mantra, process, think, adjust. Process, think, adjust. And that's what I've been doing a lot in my life. And believe it or not, a lot of people do that in their life as well. When they encounter a situation or something of that sort, to be able to process, think, adjust before they can move forward. So it's a good read, man. It's available on Amazon. Just type in my name, or you can type in For Better Living, and it will pop right up.
Oh,
Yeah,
great,
that's awesome.
great. Yeah, and talking about what's the mantra? Think, adjust.
Process, think, adjust.
Process, think, adjust. Okay, so going right into the topic then.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
We're gonna talk about emotional maturity and space, right? And just when it comes to self-processing techniques, we want to know what is that process when it comes to how a man should self-process in a dating relationship or in between before he even gets into it, like after a breakup, like how should he self-process that?
Yeah, I mean, after a breakup, you really got to take ownership of your part in what happened. A lot of times, let's just give an example, whether you were cheated on or you think you're cheating, whatever the case may be, sometimes there might be a part that you play in what's happening. We can't be naive to that. It could be miscommunication with you and your partner. It could be issues that never been addressed. It could be issues that never been handled. And now you're not working together as a couple when you're in the relationship. You're working against each other. If you ever get to a point where you're working against each other in a relationship, then something's not right.
Right.
And the important part of self-processing is, depending on your level, I should say that as well, especially for men, there's levels of maturity that come into play. Some people hit it early, some men hit it late. And it also depends on your upbringing. Excuse me. It also depends on what type of male figure you have around you. And I say male figure because it could not be your father. It could be an uncle. It could be a grandpa. It could be somebody. And that kind of molds you to the type of guy that you might grow up to be. You're influenced a lot by anything in terms of what can be a male figure. I know a couple of people who say Phil, Uncle Phil, from French Prince,
Right.
or
Right.
they
Yeah.
say
Makes
Cosby.
sense.
Yeah.
I'm a big Cosby person. Cosby influenced me a lot just by watching, and I know it's a TV show, but some of the stuff that they've been through were real examples.
Yes.
So when you talk about relationships, you talk about whether you're dating or in a relationship, you got to take into counter um, what you've played and what role you've played and what happened, and then kind of move from there. Processing is a big part of it. Self-awareness is a big part of it also. If you're not self-aware, then you're in trouble, in my opinion.
So because I know because you said a lot, and and
Mercy.
and yes, it speaks so much of the maturity that you have, and it's honestly pretty beautiful to watch, especially remembering how we used to do little traveling just for even singing to now. I just want to know because we've had different discussions even when I was talking about my own self processing of different things, and you mentioned that to me as well. You know, what part did I play into it? And it was refreshing to think about that because now you hold yourself in a way accountable to your own actions so
Right.
that you don't bring that into future relationship. You're trying to like dissect maybe things that you had done that could have provoked someone maybe in their behavior, or even if it wasn't really you provoking them, even if it was something that they too had to handle, but just maybe the way we vocalized it, the way we we handled it may have not helped with the restoration of it, but it kind of helped break up. I wanted to know what inspired you, what happened, what made you think this way. I know you mentioned working out and how you make that a habit and part of your life literally, but what triggered you to think this way? What triggered you to even think about the processing way, like that caused you to be who you are today? You know what I mean? Like, where did you start from?
My breaking point was when I was in college. I was at Andrews University, which is a Christian school, right? And I was on the basketball team. Team was doing very well. I was successful. My grades was doing good. I had a bunch of friends, things of that sort. I wouldn't say I was super popular, but everybody knew me and everything like that. Like in other person's shoes, life is good.
Right.
I just wasn't right on the inside. I just wasn't right. There's a newsletter that comes out of my school weekly, and every week there's a Bible verse on the newsletter. And this Bible verse, which is now tattooed on me, is Deuteronomy 31, verse 6. It says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not fear, be terrified of them. For the Lord thy God is with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." With everything going well and me not being self-aware and happy on the inside of what's happening to me, I got suicidal.
Oh wow.
I was on the third, fourth floor. I think I was on the third floor of my dorm building, and I kicked the screen window out. That's how close I was.
Wow.
Before God said, "Not yet."
Oh wow.
God said, "No, this isn't what I have planned for you. I've been watching you, and you've been enjoying all this stuff that I've been giving you, but you haven't been coming to me."
Oh my gosh.
And I'm at a Christian school. I'm talking. There's church Tuesday night, Thursday night chapel. There's Friday night. Everything closes at Sabbath time, and then there's Sabbath church. I'm in the choir. It was just, I can't really explain why I was feeling how I was feeling, but the mental process in me, the happiness in me, the joy in my life, it just wasn't adding up to the outside that everybody was seeing. So when I read that verse, it says, "Do not fear, be terrified of them." I put anything in that category. Them could be anything.
Right.
So now I started to be aware of things and be able to take a step back before acting. You guys knew me when I was a lot younger, before I even went to Andrews, and even before then when I lived in Philadelphia. I was a very action type person. I'm
Yeah.
like, you said what? And we on. Like it was go. I didn't think about any repercussions or who I hurt
Right.
or whatever the case may be. It was Kels and only Kels. I didn't care about what mom, dad, who if somebody was bothered by it, that's on them. It was only me. And I never took the time to really sit back and see how my actions affected everyone around me.
Mm.
So when this happened and this Bible verse hit me, and I heard God talk to me and say, "No, you need to come to me." It gave me the awareness that I was looking for. Some of these things are not taught to you, right? It's just encounters that you're gonna have to go through in
Yes.
life.
Yeah.
Someone can sit you down and give you, hey, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this. And you can be like, yeah, yeah, I believe you. Da, 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 da. But until you go through that encounter on your own,
Right.
Yeah.
that's when you're gonna learn that lesson,
My
right?
God.
So you asked me, when did that change occur? When did that happen? It was right then at that moment. Now, anything that happens to me, I have the ability to step back for a second and try to process everything as much as I possibly can. Now that I've sat back and I process it, I think about what decision I'm going to make. And now that I'm married with children, I can think about, if I make this decision, how's that going to affect my wife? How's that going to affect my kids? How's that going to affect this person? How's that going to affect this person? And if it's people that I love and I care about, I got to maneuver and adjust appropriately so that I can still do what it is that I want, but I know it's not going to tear somebody else down.
Right. Right.
Wow.
Wow. I like the sit back and adjust. I think that also happens when you have no choice but to mature fast too.
Right.
I feel like some people, like, it's easy to say that you're going to do something when you're not in it. And then when you actually get in it, sometimes you act completely different than how you said you were going to actually be, or different personalities, different situations. You have to deal with different people according to them.
Right.
So it's very easy to say, well, this is how I'm going to be as a husband, right?
Right.
This is how I'm going to be as a wife.
Right.
Or this is how I want my perfect marriage to go. And then now you're in it. And then you realize, oh, okay, well, now I need emotional space for two, not one. Right? So now it's, I have to consider you. And now you put kids in the mix. Right?
Now you're talking, yeah.
So now I have to put emotional space for me, you,
and the kids.
And the kids. Because now, my gosh, you have 3 or 4 kids. Each one has different personalities.
Yeah.
So I feel like situations in that, not all, but that almost forces us to say, okay, well, this isn't about me.
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
Let me say why yes. I agree 100% with it. It does force you to do something, but it still depends on, it's this topic that we're talking about, still depends on the man. It still depends on his upbringing. It still depends on if he wants to take ownership of what he's done. Right? If I father a child with some woman, right? You could say, "Oh, I have to grow up now because I'm a dad now."
Right.
Technically, I don't have to grow up. I can still go on my own and do what it is that I want to do. It really has to hit me in my experience in my life if I've ever had a father figure or someone who can tell me, "Hey, now that you're a father now, you got to maneuver different." Someone who can kind of teach you the way, because things can happen. And it could supposed to make you grow up, but you don't know how to grow up because you ain't got the guidance that is supposed to aid you in those next steps, that next career, that next life. If you got a promotion at work, or you got a promotion, now you're the CEO, and it's like, all right, well, I only knew how to be the manager.
Right.
No one taught me how to be the CEO. So now I'm in CEO position and I'm making ridiculous board meetings and changes, and now business is going down because I wasn't taught how to be that CEO. I didn't have a CEO that I was in the room with when I was a manager, and I was watching and I was
Mm.
learning and I was seeing how he was moving or she was moving and everything that they was doing. So
Right.
I agree with what you're saying. Like our actions and things that we do definitely makes you mature, but you still got to take that ownership of saying like, hey, I need to do this. I need to do better because it's for my child. Because I saw my dad do this for me. Because I saw the elder at the church or whoever, somebody that you look to as
Right.
a
Right.
focal point, right?
As a mentor.
So as a mentor, right? And you can actually have a mentor and that person not know that they're a mentor.
Mm.
Like I've been watching guys in from afar.
Mm.
One of my good friends, I'll give him a shout out here, Fred Bussey, and he wrote the book, and I was just watching everything that he was doing. I didn't even really ask him a lot of questions about it. It
Okay.
wasn't until I got the idea of writing the book from
Mm.
him and the things that he was doing. So a mentor doesn't, you don't have to, hey, I'm looking for a mentee. You don't have
Right.
to go introduce like you,
Mhm.
if you respect that person, you see, the things that they're doing. Of course, you don't see what's going on behind closed doors, but a mentor could definitely be somebody you look at from afar.
Right.
Man.
How important is it for a man that did not grow up with a father, or let's say even uncles around him,
Mhm.
to go find a mentor? Because I have a couple of friends who he said something quite profound. He said, a woman can't raise a man. And he didn't have his father. And he joined the military
Mhm.
because he's like, no, like, I want to learn. I want to be disciplined as a man. I want to know what it is to think. This is mom, and women siblings. That's it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So he's like, no, like I want to put myself out there. But how important is it? Let's say somebody doesn't even join the military or something like that. Like, how important is it for someone to really just sit down with someone and find a mentor, especially if they never had guidance? It's just been them.
Extremely important. Extremely, extremely important. Um, when you're trying to navigate this thing called life,
Mm-hmm.
if
Yeah.
you don't necessarily know where you're headed or how you're supposed to get there, you may tend to make a lot more mistakes. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an analogy, which is kind of the bridge for my book, right?
Okay.
When you walk into a gym the first time, you might not know what you're doing.
Right.
There's tons of people in there. This person's doing this person's doing that. You have no idea what's going on. All you know is you want to be fit.
Right.
So for men, for boys growing up, maturing, all they may want to know is I want to be a good dad. I want to be a good man. But they have no idea that process of what it goes through.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So back to the gym. First thing you probably do is, hey, can I get a trainer?
Mhm.
You'll get a trainer for your physical body. Why wouldn't you get a trainer for your mental health? Why wouldn't you get a trainer for being a mentor to show you the ropes on how to be a father? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Now, the selection of who you pick is also important.
Mercy.
If I'm trying to get super big and try out for those muscle, competitions, I'm not gonna pick the scrawny guy as the trainer.
Mhm.
That just wouldn't
True.
make sense. So I'm gonna look at someone who is exhibiting what it is that I want to be or how I want to
Mm-hmm.
move. So when you ask that question, I say most boys, when they hit a certain age, whether mom knows it or not, they're going to look at somebody
Yeah.
as that guy. Growing up how I grew up, most boys, if the father figure is not in the house, they turn to the streets. And there's
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
always an older guy in the street that's putting them on, or they see the older guy got the nice car or dressed the flyers, and he may be giving them a couple
Mercy.
dollars on the side. So he looks at that guy and say, "That's a man. I want to be like
Wow.
that." Then he tried to follow in his footsteps. For me, I had my father, but one person that I also looked at was my coach, my basketball coach.
Mhm.
Just how he was able to train us on the court and still be cool with this after basketball and talk life and all that type of stuff. So most guys have to have that as they're growing. If they don't, that doesn't mean that they can't become a man, but they may make more um, bad decisions and may cause them to hurt some other people in the process of learning. And I hate to say this, but they just don't know any better. They
Right.
just don't know any better as they continue to grow.
Right.
So I would say, gosh, like this is hitting me different. So I'm trying to even process everything that you're saying,
Yeah.
and it's just so unfortunately or fortunately, I feel like in your situation, in your case, God allowed drastic measures for you to come to your breaking point so you could hear Him.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like He also knew your you were obedient to Him no matter what. Like, you didn't react.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, you were in a very dangerous zone, like literally,
Mm-hmm.
mentally, physically, and in the space that you were at that moment. You could have snapped, like you
Right.
could have like blinked out, and we wouldn't be here today.
For sure. Yeah.
But I feel like God still allowed it, maybe because for you it took this drastic measure to get your attention for the men that you are today. So I would say someone that's not there, someone that's not in their breaking point, how does a man recognize? Because I know sometimes as women, when we are speaking to our man, it could be someone we're dating, someone that we're married to, someone we're interested in,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or
Mhm.
just a friend. And we see these areas that needs improvement. Maybe they haven't seen it. Maybe they don't see the breaking that maybe their father put in their life if they didn't have fathers in their lives. Or maybe certain situation around them destroyed them. Maybe they were molested. Whatever the circumstance is, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or was. How does one recognize, you know, that there's a need for change? There's a need to sit back and think of how they need to be husbands if they're husbands, fathers if they're already fathers, without having something like um so so crazy, I would say, happen to them like yours, your
Yeah. Yeah.
situation. I think that you were pretty alert, and it's sad because you mentioned something that to me is the most dangerous part, is that everybody looking on the outside would have never known,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
that
Mm-hmm.
this is what was happening with you on the inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you even said it to yourself. You don't even know why you felt these ways. I mean, this way, because um, you didn't have it. Didn't it? Doesn't sound like, and I may be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong. But it sounds like you had a father, like you said, that was present. You had a coach that was present. So there was
Right.
really nothing that would have made you feel the way you felt. But then you did feel the way you felt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And nobody
Yeah.
can take that away
Yeah.
from you.
Right.
And it was real to you to the point that you almost took your life as a
Mm-hmm.
result of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so happy, and I praise God really that you realized it, and that you're here today, and you're
Right.
able to use that to even help others. But there's a man out there that don't even know he's going through it. There's a man out there that's already a husband, and he's not able to identify that there's a need for change because he's probably not put in a place where he has to face himself, face reality, face death, right? Or face the loss of their marriage. There's so
Mm-hmm.
much that's happening right now.
Yeah.
And so how do you tell someone, you know, how do they wake up from it? How do they realize that this is happening?
That's a loaded question. Um,
And
and I'm gonna try to answer it as best as possible. There's no quick fix for it. There's no, hey, talk to yourself and figure out what's going on and then
Right.
fix it and get over it. There's really no, it's a self journey, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's a self, I would say a self marathon,
Mm.
because you can't just run through your emotions and how you're feeling or what's going on in your mind, because you don't know. You really don't know. One of the first things that I started to do after God spoke to me was something that if you ask the younger Markell about, is mental health important and all that type of stuff, I'd be like, no, just get up, dust yourself off, keep it moving. Like, we ain't got time
Yeah.
to be talking about
Yeah.
feelings and emotions and all that stuff.
Right.
But now that I'm older, and in that incident, one of the first things that I started doing was writing. I
Mm.
just started to write what I was feeling.
Mm.
And then when I started to write what I was feeling, I would write right after why I feel like that. And it depends on the person to correctly answer your question. I grew up Seventh day Adventist. I've always been in the church. I always believed in God.
Mm-hmm.
Whether things were not going right for me or not, I always believed in God. So after I wrote my feelings and I wrote why I feel like that, the very next thing I did was open my Bible.
Oh.
Sometimes I didn't even know where to open my Bible to. I literally did this. I just
Oh, I love
and
it.
whatever page it landed on, I
Yeah.
just
You
started
read it.
reading.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I got some other Bibles that it was one in particular. I think it's in my bookshelf. You it tells you a list of feelings. You're feeling sad, read this verse. You're feeling depressed, read this
Right.
verse. You're feeling
Oh,
this, read this
nice.
verse. Yeah, so I had one of those Bibles as well to kind of help guide me. Um, but then I think God places people in your life at the right time.
Mm.
Yeah.
So my wife
Mm.
is probably watching, and I'm not saying this because she's watching. I've told her this before. I've said this plenty of times. My
Yeah.
life has changed since I met my wife.
And I was
Mercy.
gonna ask you that
I love
too.
it.
Yeah.
Now I've always known my wife when I got to Andrews. So I got to Andrews around 2009. This happened in 2011, going on 2012. But I knew my wife since, no, 2010, I'm sorry. I knew my wife since 2009. So I knew her, she was around the school, it was cool and everything like that. But after the incident, after being by myself for a little bit, my wife, who was my friend at the time, just started talking to me more. And in what I mean by talking, it's not the superficial, like, hey, how's your day? You going to class? It was like she really hit me with the, how are you?
Mm.
And silence after that, like pause, silence. And it was just like, she let me know that I could talk to her. And whatever I said to her stayed with her. I didn't
Oh,
have to worry about getting to anybody else and they talk about me and da da da. It really stayed with her, so that allowed me to be vulnerable and allowed me
Mm.
to really decompress and release some things onto her. Now, if a person doesn't have that in their life, even in my book, I strongly am urging people to seek help. Get a life coach, get a therapist, get
mm.
get someone that you can get to a point where you can just say what's on your mind in a judge-free zone.
Mercy.
And
Yeah.
I think when we talk about the dating relationship, I know I'm going backwards. Sometimes the issue is men. I know this isn't a gender war, right? It's not a gender war.
Right.
But sometimes men don't feel comfortable to really express who or what they want to say to their partner without that partner now coming back, whether that same moment or next
Mm-hmm.
week or next month, using what they said on
Again.
that person.
Against them.
Yeah.
Mercy.
And from a man's standpoint, what that does to us is, I'm never going to say anything again.
Mm.
Mm.
So now, when I am going through something, I'm either going to go out the house, and
Right.
now you're wondering what's going on. Da, 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 da. Well, the last time I came and talked to you, this is what happened.
Right.
I was expressing myself. So to go back to answer your question, it's just I just got into a habit of expressing how I'm feeling and writing it down, and then finding someone that I can talk to about those feelings and feel comfortable enough to um, release it. Because the more you hold it in, it's like
Mm.
it's like a soda can.
Yeah.
And somebody's gonna get exploded on.
Something's gonna get exploded on.
For
You know,
sure.
I love what you just said because it goes into what I wanted to ask you
Mm-hmm.
next. We've been, well, I've been in situations where I wanted to be vulnerable. The person can't accept it. They don't know how, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know better.
Mm-hmm.
I've been also in situations where the person wants to be vulnerable, but it comes out harsh because they don't know even how to even express themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So now I'm looking at them like, why are you talking to me in that way? You know, but really, if you step back, now I can say, you know what, I think they were going through something. They just didn't know how to even voice it or like articulate themselves, you know, like they didn't even know what they really wanted to come out. Right? Like it was inside of them, but they didn't even know where to start, so it came out harsh.
Right.
Came out very mean.
Right.
You know, it came out as a projection, but really it's about them.
I know
you know? Right. So now you react that, right? Because now you're protecting yourself. Like, what? Why are you attacking me? You know, and then now you don't know how to create a emotional safe space for everyone, right? So that goes into my next question on how, well, this is a two-part one. How can a woman create a safe space for her man, and how can a man learn to create a safe space for his partner?
Y'all got pen and paper? You want to write all this stuff down?
Oh,
I got a list. Oh, just kidding.
Look,
I'm
we're
already
here to learn. That's what Detox is all about,
for
right?
Sure,
Awareness.
For sure. We talk about love a lot in relationships. What I've come to learn, the biggest part of love is grace. Some people don't know how to give grace.
No.
I've had to learn that myself, right? So I'm also, when I say some people, I'm also part of that. Some people don't know how to give grace. So to go into your example of the man just exploding and saying whatever he didn't have to say, is he right? No, right? He's not right. But he might not know how to communicate what's bothering him.
Right.
So at that point in time, I would hope the woman will be able to be like, he didn't really mean that. I'm going to give him grace for what just happened. I'm not going to hold it against him. He called me this, he said that, da-da-da-da. When it's a calmer moment, because he might still be hot or whatever like that, I'm going to try to approach him and we can talk. Because sometimes most men, as much as they say men are not emotional and things of that sort, when we get angry or something is bothering us, it's emotion. It just comes out. It shoots out. And then majority of us will come back and be like, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to say that or something like that. And you can date that back to childhood and how they grew up and they didn't know how to express or they was never allowed to express. You know, those type of stuff. So again, it goes back to, I'm not allowed to express, I'm supposed to hold everything in, I'm going to bottle it up, and then soda can, pop. And now I'm just going to funnel at the mouth and just go off about, and then I'll bring up something 2 weeks ago that I was holding on to, like that type of stuff. So I think, and this is just my own personal opinion, I think women have a unique power over men. And I'm not talking about that, right? I don't know if it's a show or not. But you have a unique power in how you can approach him that will give him that safe space and ability to talk to you. It's in the way you do it. I can't tell every woman exactly what it is, but it's in the way you do it. And if you do it right, he would fumble everything at the mouth and tell you all the stuff that's going on. As long as there's trust there, he's committed to you. You guys are committed to each other, whether the relationship is rocky or great, whatever the situation is. But it's just your approach right? If you be like, what's wrong with you? I'm not. I'm not gonna tell you what's wrong with me. You already got the attitude, the way you come in. I'm not
Right.
gonna
Right,
do that.
right,
Yeah.
But as an example, again, this might be like I've had this conversation before. Actually, the girl was like, "Well, why I always got to approach him like that?" And da 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 da. And I
it's
was
not
like,
my
"Well,
time.
why does that matter? Yeah, why does
Right,
that? Is that your
why
man or is that
not?
not your man?
Right,
Right? So it's like if you approach him, also, babe, what's going on? Talk to me, or
right.
babe, like let's sit down, let's cook, I don't know, cook him a meal, or you know what I'm saying, rub his feet, I don't know, whatever way you feel you can get connected to him.
A peacemaker.
um
Mm.
right, and then ask the questions. And hey, what's been going on with this? And then you also got to allow him to say it when he's ready. So if you come on Monday with that approach,
Mm.
don't come around on Tuesday if he didn't say it. don't
Mm.
don't come around on Wednesday if he didn't say it, because now you bothering me.
It's a
Now,
gag.
yeah, now you're nagging me. It's like
Mercy.
I'm gonna be able to tell you when I'm ready to tell you, but knowing that you could come with that soft approach will allow me to tell you faster. And second part of the question, what can men do? I think um, most women would tell you women want um, protection,
Yeah.
women want security, um, and I think
Mm.
those two things is probably the biggest thing that we can use to provide that safe space.
Mm.
Mhm.
If we can allow you to know, whether some women is like, I could tell you one time and that man's got my back. And there's some women that's like, they gotta hear it every day. And I gotta build it and drill it into your mind that I got
Right.
your back. But it just depends on the type of woman, right?
Right.
But if we can give you that, then I feel like you will have no issues releasing or saying things to us,
Mhm.
because now whatever you say from A to Z is never going to change our relationship,
Mhm.
Mm.
especially if that person is your best friend. You know, really, girls like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
my best friend. Especially if that person is and I'm hearing this a lot now too, right? Get with someone that you like,
Yes.
because love is always going to be there, and
Mhm.
sometimes you might fall out of love. But if you
Yeah.
like that person, like really like that person,
Yeah.
you're not going to want to do anything to hurt that person,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
right? So if that person is hurting, you're also hurting.
Right. And if
So
you see
if
crying, that that's
You,
going to bother
it
you.
triggers
It
you.
should bother you.
I
And if it
my
mean,
doesn't, you don't
it's
really
a
care.
problem.
Right.
my wife would tell you right now, if she's crying about something and I find out what it is, that person or whoever she's crying about has a problem with me. That it's just off rip, because not only am I protecting her for whatever the situation is,
Mm.
but for that person outside of my marriage to
Right.
have this effect on my wife, that she's in this emotional state, now I got a problem.
Mm.
Mm.
And at the beginning, I had to turn it down a little bit, because she was afraid to tell me certain things, because she knew I'll go right off to go handle it, go fix it, or whatever the case may be. But
Okay.
um, I've learned to just allow her to feel safe and protected and release stuff to me and talk to me. And then
Mm.
sometimes I don't even try to solve the problem. I'm just an ear
I love that.
that she needs to just express
Yeah.
stuff to. Um, so
Yeah.
that'll be my answer to that.
That's just, it's just
That's beautiful. It's
beautiful.
active listening on both parts.
Right.
Sure.
I was
Yeah.
gonna ask you, Markel, what do you feel? Is there a way to grace? Like, do you feel like there's areas that you cannot apply grace to, or you feel like in all aspect you are to be given grace? Because for example, um, either men or women, right? Sometimes we get, especially women, we may have gone through some emotional, some trauma,
Mm-hmm.
and and we may deal with depression as a result of it, anxiety, or whatever the story may be, and now we are expressing it to this person that we are sharing life with or are interested in, and then with their response it shows that they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
at that point, because you are already in a low emotional state, so you can't really receive their, it's hard to say, man, maybe they didn't mean it like that, because that moment it hurts you.
Right.
That moment you may have cried about it,
Mm-hmm.
and they still didn't care about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like the cold-blooded, like, yo, wipe your tears, move on, like get off with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that this is still an opportunity to where I would apply grace to you, or for the men that cheated multiple times, or for the, I don't know, it doesn't have to just be about cheating all the time and none of that stuff, but let's just say it's something that
Like reactions.
their reaction towards
Yeah.
that was hurtful.
Mhm.
So do you feel like grace is applicable in a situation like that?
So, you want the Christian answer, Christian Markell answer, or you want the real Markell answer?
Give me the real Markell answer, because I would say this: Christianity.
We have to apply grace.
Mm-hmm.
You
So,
understand?
so the Christian answer is going to be give him grace every time, right?
Right.
Give him grace every time, and then pray about it. Pray
Right.
about the situation. Let God and the Holy Spirit work on that person, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
The human Markell is like, don't be a dummy, right? Don't be a dummy. Every situation is different,
I like that.
right? Every situation is different. You have to process the situation at hand. Your example of talking to someone and that person is your partner or whatever the case may be, and they're not able to listen to you and be there for you, and their reaction to what you said put you in a lower place or completely different than what you've been through. Is this the first time you've presented it to them? If it is the first time, you're going to be in a lower place, but you could provide grace there, right? And then now you got to find out a better way of presenting.
What?
Mhm. Okay, well, it seems that we
Lost.
Markell for a quick sec.
Yes.
One moment.
There we go.
There you go.
Hey,
Back.
I have no idea what happened there.
Yeah, you're back.
I'm so
We
sorry.
lost you for a quick minute.
It's okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so you got to examine the situation. You got to process the situation, which is what I was saying, right? And if that person wasn't ready to be graceful and talk to you the right way and give you what it was that you were looking for in that time and moment, I wouldn't necessarily say that's it, dead to that person. Don't ever talk to that person again. They might not have been in a position to listen to what it is that you were trying to say to them, right? Just because you're presenting this to me now doesn't mean that I'm ready to take it now. So there's that time and where we got to figure out.
Yeah.
When we could come together like this, because we might be coming together at different times and we're just hitting each other, whatever the case may be. So I would say, you can apply grace once, twice, something of that sort, depending on the level of that situation or what that partner is. If you talk about cheating, some people would say, you cheat on me one time, it's a wrap, I'm out of here.
Right.
But then there's some situations where you got a whole family, 4 or 5 kids, and things of that sort. It's not easy to just be like,
to like
I'm
walk
out.
away.
You know what I'm saying? So, but then the other side of grace has to be a change, right?
Yeah.
There has to be a change. If I'm going to apply grace to this person for not being able to talk to me the way I needed them or to be here for me, or they made a mistake and I'm giving them grace, they can't continue the habit. If they continue the habit, if they continue moving how we're moving, then this ain't going to work. Why would I give you additional grace? Additional grace every time, additional grace every time, then at the end of the day, I'm hurting myself.
Yes.
There is no life if I'm just going to continue hurting myself. I'm not living for you. I'm living for me with you. We're living together.
Right.
I'm not just going to keep letting you do whatever it is you do and I just sit here and I'm hurting, I'm getting depressed, I'm sad, I'm getting suicidal and all these other type of feelings coming amongst me and I talk to you about it. You keep turning your back on me, then there's something that has to stop here.
Yes.
There's something that has to stop here. And that person might not be who you need to bring that to.
Right.
God might be who you need to bring it to.
Right.
So
exactly. Wow. There was this quote on Facebook. This person said, when you're with your partner, you need to immediately tell the person everything that you've gone through. And under the comments, there were so many mixed commenting,
I'm sure.
going around, and it's crazy because you almost saw the level of maturity from each commenter. You saw where they were at on a mature scale, right? So someone would say, you probably need to test a little if they can even handle
everything that
you're trying before you just right? Because some things in you are sacred. You know what I'm saying? Like, did you even ask God, is this your person? Did you ask God if that person is appointed to you? Are you that person's assignment? Are they your assignment? Like, there's different things where some people don't have the emotional maturity to handle things that you've gone through, right? And sometimes vulnerability means, oh, she's being vulnerable. He's being vulnerable. I'm not used to being vulnerable. So does that mean that you expect me to be vulnerable?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's scars in that person that they don't want to reveal to you.
Yeah, for sure.
So your vulnerability could scare them away.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, but I kind of disagree with that, with what that person put on Facebook. For example, how do they load luggage onto the airplane? One at a time. A whole cart pulls up, but they throw one luggage on the airplane at a time. They don't take the whole cart and dump everything in the airplane. And I worked in the airplane. I used to be a ramp agent. We don't just throw the stuff back there. We literally have to stack it like Tetris in a certain way so we can fit as much as we possibly can. I don't think there's any way to just unload everything on a person at one time. Whether they're your person or not your person.
Right.
It's still not right to unload everything at one time. I don't know an exact percentage, but I'm going to just guess 90% of the time that person's going to go. Yeah. If it's a guy, I can tell you from a guy's perspective, we dipping. We out. It's going to be, oh, she come with too much. No, sir, not me. I'm not gonna, it's not my job to play hero and deal with all that type of stuff. We're not going to do that. It's unfortunate, but girls the same way. If a guy comes through with multiple baggage and this, that, and the third, and situation after situation, whether he's cute or not, you guys are going to be like, I don't know. I don't know about him. He got too much going on and stuff like that. So I do think it's important at some point in time to unbag the luggage with that person.
Yes.
Right? I do think it's important to open it up. Hey, this happened to me. This happened to me. Let's talk about it. This is where I am now with it. This is what I'm dealing with. Things of that sort. These are, some people know, these are my triggers, such and such and such, those type of things. You can't, if this is your person and you're trying to take that relationship to the next level, I personally probably wouldn't even open it up in just the dating stage. Because if you're technically dating, you're maybe dating multiple people trying to find the right person for you.
Yeah. Right.
But when you find that right person for you and you're in that relationship stage, little by little, it is important to unpackage certain things. And that person as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's an important thing too. I think it's little by little. And you can see what the person can even handle the little bit that you give them. Right. You know, like just, let's say for me, I gave someone just a little bit. And the reaction was this. I'm like, oh, well, thank God. Because if I give you this, and the reaction is this, imagine if I gave you inch by inch by inch. So now I was like, okay, well, thank you.
I think too, from personal experience, right? And as I've gotten older, I'm getting wiser in that sense. It's also being careful and like you said, being prayerful who to unpack it with. Yes. Let me share why. My first marriage was disastrous, right? I was 17, 18 years old. Literally marriage by paper because literally we were separated right after. It was a lot going on. But when I thought I was mature enough to enter a second relationship, which I viewed as my real marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I unpacked that information to this person. And I feel like someone that is not really your person,
Mm-hmm.
that can pretend that he's listening to it, can definitely use that and make that your, how can I say this? For me, it was almost like unpacking that information. He didn't protect me
Right.
with it.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't provide safety with it. He didn't bring a place where, like you've mentioned, if I started tearing up as a result of something, he didn't run to ease that for me. It's almost like the sensitivity was not there. It was
Right.
almost used
A
as
weapon.
a weapon back to say, oh, she's weak minded. If I do this, she's gonna be guttural because she's going through all of this. So I just need to give her a little bit of, difference or change
Yeah.
from this situation. So now that I'm in a space where, it's been almost 4 or 5 years, right, that I've been separating from this situation. And when you're speaking to a man that is actually mature,
Mm-hmm.
and just like your wife did for you, says to you, how are you? And just say, or ask you, how's your mental health? I've been asked, how's your mental health today?
Nowadays, yeah, everyone's
You know, and
asking that.
then I'm like just completely lost at the question by itself because it's not even something that I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
And but like I'm baffled at that moment. I just sit and like wait, like is this a trick question? Is this for real question?
Right.
Like
Right.
I'm like making phone calls. Hey, he just asked me how's my mental health. How am I
What do I
supposed to
say?
answer? So it's like I don't know, and then like you said, there's no nagging about it. It's just a question, and then the experience, just like you, if I start to tear up about something,
Mm-hmm.
and then they start to tear up too, and I'm like, what is happening? This is
Right.
unusual. So I think that it's not even just unpacking it one luggage at a time,
Mm-hmm.
but it's literally that person has to give you that space to
Yeah.
do it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Like you felt safe
Mm-hmm.
when your
Yeah.
your wife now, who was your friend then, when she came to you, you didn't feel like she was gonna attack you, judge you,
Right.
or even look at you as a weak link because you almost did this. You know how many people could have taken this story and turned it around and made it worse?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How you a Christian? Don't you know the Bible verses? How dare you do something
Mercy.
like that?
Yeah.
But she didn't approach it in that sense. She approached it with, I mean, clearly she had to have some type of feeling towards you to even, I mean, it was just God sent to me, I feel, for her
Yeah.
to be able to come in this way
Yeah.
that allowed you to heal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was just, that's one thing I would say for me. It's like, even now, like being able to completely vomit everything I've been through,
Yeah.
it's scary because
Yeah.
what I've gone through, it's a lot. So to
Yeah.
unpack it
Yeah.
is really gonna freak somebody out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So unfortunately, that person, when you were giving him the information, he was storing it as ammo.
Mm-hmm.
So he can turn around and use it on you for whatever situation, whatever argument came up, and that's not a good relationship.
Right.
And
Right.
thank God you're not in that relationship. And anyone who's in that relationship, be aware, because that's not the way a man should move,
Right.
especially when you're talking about a man that is in love with his partner, right?
Right.
Again, if we go back to the basis of trying to select a partner and choose a partner, like for me, it's someone that I got to be friends with, someone I enjoy the company with, someone I love and care for. Like if I love and care for this person as I say I do, why would I be wanting to hurt this person?
Right.
Like that just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. So anyway,
Right.
I'm glad you're not in that anymore.
You know,
I got you.
as we're ending, I know that we didn't get to everything because the topic's so good.
I'll come back.
Oh,
Yeah,
please,
please.
please do. You know, I just wanted to read this quote where it says, God loves, God heals, God comforts, God cares, God listens, God guides, God helps, God forgives, God knows, God saves.
Mhm.
And, you know, if the Bible says love each other like Christ loves the church, then I looked at this quote and I said, okay, if I'm made in his image, does Hadasha love? Does Hadasha heal? Does Hadasha comfort? Does Hadasha care? Does Hadasha listen? Does Hadasha guide? Does Hadasha help? Does Hadasha forgive? Does Hadasha know? Does Hadasha saves? You know, I put myself in that level and I teared up a bit, you know, because after like I read that, I'm like, I'm so, you know, just let's say just as a mom, you know, like certain upbringings that we have, like we're so quick to you know, and so now sometimes it's just finding that balancing act, right? Like you don't want to be so loose yet you don't want to be so uptight, you know? And it's one of those things like when she cries, she throws like a tantrum. I'm like, okay, no. But when she's actually sad about something, okay, let me go comfort. You know, because sometimes the crazy part is all she really wanted in that moment was just a kiss on the forehead. It was just a hug. And I think we as humans, we overcomplicate everything. When it's the simplicity in the little gestures that takes a person so far. Like when they say smile, like I went into the park to go exercise today, and just by any elderly person that just walked by, the first thing they did was wave or just smile. She's like automatic, and I was just sociable, smile, you know. And one of those things, like okay, just
oh my god,
just like smile, because I feel like we can get so stuck in our own heads. Right? So I really took this as smile. And smile from your soul.
I like that.
Smile from your mind. Smile in your heart.
Like
you know, and I think the more that happens, the more you do that, you will attract it. Because God is going to say, okay, you know what? You're becoming a safer person. I can now bring this person into your life. I can now bring this love into your life. Now this can grow better. You know, and then like the businesses and the care and the friendship, you know, just like around you, you know. So I just wanted just to share that, and I just wanted to know if there are any last words that you just would like to give to men now, men single, men married,
men that are hurting,
that they don't know how to ask for love. Like they've been abandoned, right? So now they become abandoners. They don't even realize it. They become abandoners of their self and others around them. They don't even know how to even accept love.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. Abandonment is definitely a very tough issue, especially in men. Bunch of us grow up in households, no father figure. Whether a father figure was taken into the prison system or whatever the case may be, or just left the house, absent father. Acknowledgement is probably the first thing I would say you have to do, is to acknowledge where you are right now. Then you got to think about where it is that you want to be, because it's obtainable. It really is obtainable. To get over, in my opinion, any mental mind state or situation, you can overcome. Biggest thing I would tell people is you cannot measure time. You cannot measure time. You can't say I'm dealing with abandonment issues and then next year I'm no longer going to be dealing with this issue, because you don't know. And now you might be setting yourself up. Yeah, you might be setting yourself up for failure. So if you kind of negate the time part and just acknowledge where you are and where you want to be, and as Kobe Bryant would always say when he played basketball, he was enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. Work through the process. Take your time through the process. Trust the process. Gather as much as you can. For example, that gentleman that you're saying, reach out to somebody. Don't try to fight this battle on your own. Men have an identity of, I'm going to handle this by myself. I don't need nobody else. It's just me. And we have to break that. We have to break that as much as we possibly can. The only time men come together is if it's gonna make some money.
Yeah.
If we're gonna make some money, I don't care if I dislike this person. What? We're gonna make some money? Let's do it. Sign me up. Da, 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 da.
Mercy.
But when it comes to other stuff, we're quick to be like, nah, I got it. I'm cool. Put it on my back. I carry it and things of that sort.
Yeah.
And you don't have to. You really
Man.
don't have to. So I'm not saying this only because I'm a life coach, but like find someone that you can talk to. Really find someone that you trust, that you can talk to, life coach, a therapist.
Right.
Honestly, I'll be honest, sometimes some of these things cost money and you might not be in a position to pay. Find a good church, maybe, and get in a relationship with a pastor. Find a good deacon, that man that you can talk to and express things to and can be there to support you. You do got to vet these people. Because like we talk about, I can't unpack all of my luggage. But there's help. There's definitely help. You just have to let go of the ego, I'm gonna do this on my own feeling, that I'm a garçon, I'm a man, like just let it go. Let it go. Let's take care of this problem. You can pick that man hat back up in a minute, but for right now, let's just take care of this and get some help.
Yeah. I like that. And also there's chaplains in the hospitals too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's free.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
free. Like you can literally go to the chaplain side of the hospital and just ask, can I speak to a chaplain? And it's free and they're licensed. And it's like amazing as well. My aunt is one, and she works at the hospital. People just come in. I just need to talk to a chaplain. So I think that is beautiful advice. This was a loaded conversation. This was a loaded conversation to unpack, to process within itself, to see where like we are as a woman, as even just men in our lives, our dads, our brothers, our uncles, sometimes they go through so much, sometimes it's just how are you, Dad? Like, how are you, Uncle? Like just so much. Yeah. So thank you so much, Markell. Yes. And where can people find you?
I'm available on IG, kels.coach. Just hit me up on IG. I'm available on Twitter as well. I think it's Coach Kels1, a little backwards there, but Coach Kels1 on Twitter. If you want to email me, my email is coachkels@gmail.com. But I'm available. I'm here, man. I'm open to talking to anybody, so just let me know.
I love it and love it. And please support his book. Absolutely amazing. I just told them it's going to be for my end of May and June book. The girls are going to be annoyed.
Right, because that's the next book
That's the next book to read.
Mental training for a better living. Mental training for a better living.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Again, thank you so much, Markell. Say hi to your beautiful family for us.
Yeah.
So
maybe we need to have you and your wife together.
No, definitely.
Oh, she'll come on. She'll throw all the dirt on my name and stuff.
Yeah, and can you share too quickly for your wife? I know she also does photography.
She does.
Yes.
Let me get her Instagram. I believe it's New Creations. I'm gonna tell you.
Yes, it is. She's amazing as well.
Thank you. She's booking. So.
And that's all we want to hear. Blessings on blessings.
Yes.
Let me get to it. Hold on 1 second. All right. Her Instagram is New Creations. CreationsOns _by BY Tinu TINU. I know that's pretty
nice.
Long. But New Creations _by Tinu. Thanks for that. I appreciate that, guys.
Of course.
Definitely.
Look, family that makes bread and pray together.
Right.
Gotta have it, man. You gotta have
it. I love it. Absolutely love it. Again, Markell, of course, you're coming back.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Just let me know.
So, yes, definitely. And thank you, everyone, for joining in.
Yes. Thank you, guys. And remember,
guys.
Be vulnerable and speak about your mental
health. Yes. Detox it out. and so we can become detoxified.
Right.
Nice. Love it.
Yes, yes.
All right.
All right. Till next time.
Bye, guys.
You guys.
Bye.
Bye.